Hello. In today's episode, I will be reviewing the newest Netflix series, Three Body Problem. Let's get into it. Okay, so Netflix's new series, The Three Body Problem, is a science fiction series that, quite surprisingly, a lot of the channels that I follow and respect aren't really talking about. I haven't really seen anybody do reviews or anything on this, and that's kind of shocking because when I first saw the trailer, I believe about a year ago, I was super hyped. Like, I thought this looked phenomenal. I couldn't tell you what the story was about. I didn't know it was based on a book. But I was intrigued to watch it. I was excited for its release. And it finally came out, and all the trailers leading up to it, I really still couldn't have told you what it was about for certain. So I was kind of going in blind. Um, I didn't do a lot of research into what it was about because I liked the fact that I didn't know. Like many of the audiobooks I review on this channel, I had really zero clue what it was about. I had speculations, like maybe it was about a VR world that was intruding on our world, like the AI grew beyond the virtual reality program, or maybe it was about aliens or something else. And it turned out to be about aliens. So, if that's a spoiler for you, I'm sorry. But if you have not yet gone and checked out this series for yourself, I really strongly implore you to do so before moving on with this review, as there might be some spoilers for things in this series. Definitely in the first season, there will be some spoilers, but there might be some spoilers for things to come based on my theory and speculation, which I'll get into towards after a while here. So, starting off, what did I overall think of the series as a whole? Um, I obviously liked it, if you couldn't tell. And I would give this series a 9 out of 10. Now, the reason it's not a 10 out of 10 is because I do have some issues I'll address after, when I get into the cons. But let's start with the pros. First off, all of the uh, effects, special effects, and stuff were phenomenal. The story was phenomenal. I loved it. Did I have one or two issues with the story? I did. But overall, it was really good. Um, the cast was also really good. I was a little bit sad to see some of the characters be killed off so early, and that was mainly because I really liked those characters. Some of them it makes sense, but I guess you could say it makes sense for all of them to be killed off, but um, I didn't like that they killed off the Jack Ryan character. I really wanted him to stick around. Um, but yeah, I mean, the storyline was really, really good. Even though I understand that this is in the book, it was a story that wasn't linear. Like I said, from what I've found out about the book, it's a little bit confusing because the timeline jumps around so much. Another thing too is in the books, from what I understand, it primarily focuses on China, Like the entire story is from a China point of view, or a Chinese point of view with Chinese teams and stuff. Whereas I will say that is one thing I really like about this version of the series is that it did feel more global. Some of it took place in China, most of it took place in the UK, but they showed other places around the world where things were actually happening. So it felt like it was actually happening to all of Earth and not just one area. They also expanded the cast from the book, which, so from my understanding, they actually did one of the rarest things possible and made it better in the series than it is in the book. Because in the book, it just feels it seems like it's very condensed to the Chinese point of view. And there's not that many characters that the series seems to follow. So they actually made up new characters for this and stuff. So I really appreciated that. Um, but now moving into the cons, the negatives. And I've had this issue with movies and TV shows pretty much since I saw Galaxy Quest. I really, really dislike it when they try to explain what a story is to someone who has no idea what a story is, and they call it a lie. Yes, it may not be completely truthful, but it's not actually a lie. It's pretend. And pretending something isn't actually a lie. But to that point, um, a story typically has some truth to it. A story typically has a reason, a goal to teach. It's a tool of teaching. You know, it teaches different lessons different ways. For example, not many, I mean, a lot of horror fans will know this, but, a lot of casual fans of horror don't really understand that actually horror has always primarily been a tool for teaching, a modern day fable or a modern day grim fairy tale. Take, for instance, Jason Voorhees as example. He is one of the primary substances for how his story is a lot of don't do these bad things. What triggers Jason to kill you? Drinking, doing drugs. I know I sound like Randy from Scream, but trespassing, basically. I mean, me and my friend, we've gotten into an argument before. Like, he's like, "Oh, I hate Friday the 13th because it doesn't make any sense. He just kills anybody who comes into the forest." It's like, yeah, well, technically they're trespassing on his land. How would you feel if somebody trespassed in your home? You see what I'm getting at? If teenage kids came into your house and were drinking and having sex, and you had the right to defend your home, you would kick them out by any means necessary. And if they fought back, you'd fight back just as hard, maybe even harder. So it's kind of a fairy tale of like, but yeah, we do still have to have the, final person and whatnot. Honestly, I think in some of these cases, Jason should just win. But no, that's what horror has been for a long time. I mean, if you think about grim fairy tales, they usually had darker endings. I mean, they didn't all have and they lived happily ever after. They were tragedies at one point. So they're not technically lies, they're stories to teach the children a better way. Yes, it's sometimes made up. It's some I mean there's no actual proof that some of these stories exist, but some of these stories are not that far-fetched where there couldn't be some truth to them. Take, for instance, the story of Hansel and Gretel. Was there actually a witch that probably ate people? No. But, I mean, the story of Hansel and Gretel could be, that two children were left in the woods and birds did come along and eat the breadcrumbs. So they ended up getting lost and they did getting captured by some wood person who was a cannibal who was going to eat them. And they tricked and fought their way out of it, and that maybe they returned home, maybe they didn't. But that's just my thoughts on why you shouldn't break down that a story is a lie, because it's not just technically a lie. And I hate that comparison, but the other thing too, so in the reason I'm bringing that up is that brings me to one of my big negatives. Something that I haven't seen anybody talk about who has talked about this. Like I said, I haven't seen many reviews or reactions go up for this. So I'm hoping I'm kind of the first one to really point this out. And maybe this will be a spoiler for something to come down the road, but here's my problem with this whole thing about them going, "Oh, it's a lie. We can't live with liars cuz, you're dishonest and now we got to come and we got to destroy you." When that proclamation is made at the end of episode 5, and then I think it was in episode 6 where they actually learned the aliens had already decided prior to this event of being told that Earthlings are liars and deceivers and all this by the one guy. They had already sent their little, we'll just call them photons. It's something more, but if you haven't seen it, if you've seen it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen it, then hopefully this doesn't spoil too much. But when they sent their photons to spy on us, to do things to us, they did that prior to the show's beginning. The show literally begins when their attack were already underway. They were turning science against us. They were making science look stupid. They were trying to disprove theories. I don't know how they were doing it, but they were doing it somehow. And they were driving our scientists crazy so that they would kill themselves. And that's how the show literally begins. So that means, and then we find out in episode 6 that their plan is that they're going to go and do that so that way we cannot advance beyond where we are currently at. Like, they want to stop our evolution in its tracks. And they're going to do this so we can't ever advance beyond a certain point. Now, that doesn't make sense because if they just found out, like a week ago, that we are liars and deceivers and they want to destroy us because they don't feel they can live in harmony with us, then why did they start this attack way prior to that event, to finding out that stories are lies? It seems to me that they had always planned on doing exactly that since the moment they made contact. And all that stuff that they did, that the show they put on, was a big lie. And if these aliens don't know nothing about lying, creating an illusion of yourself as a human, like the 3D programs do in the virtual reality game, hello, the game is a lie. I mean, you're basically, I mean, maybe there's some truth to that, but there's stuff happening in that game that is a lie. So apparently, they're not always honest either, and they knew exactly what a liar was. They knew exactly what lying meant. They are deceivers. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know if that's going to play into the next few seasons. I've heard we're probably getting a season 2, maybe a season 3. I know there's 3 books. I do hope that they do finish this series because it was really good. And I would love to see where it goes from here. But when they said it's going to take them 400 years to get here, I was like, oh man, are we going to jump forward in time like a bunch of times so we get practically a new cast each season? Or are we going to have like halfway during season 2, we finish up in the current timeline, and then the last half of season 2, we jump forward 400 years and we get 4 episodes there, and then the last 8 episodes are the finale of the entire story 400 years from now. So, but other than that, like I said, I really enjoyed it. I don't know if what I said is a spoiler for upcoming seasons or not, but this show is definitely an 8 out of, or 9 out of 10, sorry. I want to keep bringing it down because of that whole lie thing, but that was really the only negative I had. Like I said, I enjoyed the graphics, the characters, the story. Other than that lie thing, other than the dishonesty factor, I really did enjoy it. So, Three Body Problem. Have you watched it? What do you think of it? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I know this wasn't a normal 40-minute episode this week, but I really wanted to talk about this before everybody starts talking about it eventually, because I feel like some of the channels I watch will eventually get around to it, but they're not there yet. So, like I said, if you watch this, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Let's start a dialogue, because I mean, I really don't understand. I feel like I'm on the right track, though, that they knew what a lie was the whole time, and they knew what they were coming to do. Do you agree with that? Do you disagree with that? Let me know. If you haven't, please consider subscribing to this channel. Give this video a like so we can get more people talking about this show and get some hype going. Because, I mean, when I watched this on Netflix, it wasn't even the #1 show of the week. So that was really weird. I hope it's gone up by now. But yeah. With all that said, I do have Alien Month coming starting this Friday for our D&D movie reactions or movie reviews. So prepare for a month of Alien content. And with that said, I will see you all in the next episode. Bye.